Hi everyone, welcome back to Cryptic Woodworks. So I'm working on my latest set of puzzle boxes, and I have a need to make a lot of these little pieces. So these are the sliders that are going to go, let me pull one over, into the puzzle blocks such that they can slide, but when engaged with a lock, which is this bar down in here, you won't be able to move it until the bar is positioned to the right place where you can actually open that lock. So I have about 30 of these that I need to cut, and I need them all cut very accurately and very well. So I thought what might help people if they're doing anything like this is to see one of the jigs that I use. So on this jig, what I did was I took one of my sample pieces, I laid it out, and I said, okay, I know I want to have 6 spots for letters. These are all 3/8 of an inch wide, and I've got 1 1/4 inches on each side. So then I could come in here. I just took a block of wood, it's just a scrap bit of oak, and I started cutting strips to glue into one end. So this strip, the first one, which is actually labeled number 6, this is the 1 1/4 inches. And the best thing to do for these is to actually use a nice dial caliper. So because you want to get these as accurately sized as possible. It'll make everything else come out very well. So if you can reach that 1/1000th of an inch, that's pretty good. You'll be in nice shape. So that's sized to 1 1/4 inches, so that when I drop this into place, now this piece I haven't sanded yet, so it doesn't go in there real well, but I would line it up against that, and I know that when I make my cut, I'm going to be cutting the last opening, which is the 6th opening. So I just did the same thing. I worked out the sizes, so it'd be 1 1/4 plus 3/8 plus 3/8 plus 3/8 and all the way on up. And then for the groove, I set the groove. It would actually be on the 1 position, so that I can make sure I can, as I drop down, I can always cut the rest. In the groove, I decided to actually make a 3/8 of an inch opening, so that has to be centered on this. And then that is simply cut with my box joint jig. So I laid it out so that the center of my groove is on that center line. So now, all I had to do was to take all of my pieces, and I would say take all the ones that are going to be in the 1 position, and I group them up. I go over to the table saw, I lock this onto my fence. I just put a sacrificial fence behind it, clamp it into place so it doesn't move, and then just line up. Well, for me, it's actually this edge gets lined up with the edge of my dado stack. And then all I have to do is drop the pieces in, set the height of the dado, run it, run it, run it, and I know that every piece is going to come out the exact same. The first time I did this, I was actually cutting them on a jigsaw, so I was kind of laying them out, and it took me forever to get one set done, and I knew there's no way I could do 30 of them that way. The other good thing is with this jig, even after I've cut them, I know I want to put index points for where the letters go. So the nice thing is I can just drop this in, and I can mark all of my different indexes where that center line is. So the jig does a little bit of double duty. Definitely one I'm going to keep around, so as I make more, it's still easy for me to make them. So I hope this helps. Anytime you're doing a project like this where you have a lot of very small things, a lot of very detailed cutting, you always want to be jigged as much as possible. The other good point about this is that with it clamped to the fence, I can do some hold down as I push it through, but I don't have to worry about getting my hands right over top of the blade or anywhere near what's spinning. So it's a real nice and easy way to do that. This piece can't pop out and fly away. Everything's really well controlled. And I found myself, it probably took me an hour or 2 to make the jig, but I think I cut everything in like 15 minutes. So I was quite surprised that it went that fast. So I hope that helps. If you're doing anything like this, you probably want to make a jig of your own.